It's Bolou again, and welcome to Bolou Rants Lagos on Bolou's Perspective. If you've been following my introductory videos, Bolou Rant Lagos is basically about Bolou ranting about life as a young lady living in Lagos, Nigeria, work, the ups and downs, So today we will be ranting on a problem or incident that happen year in, year out within the November-December period, right? This is the one chance and fraud period, right? So I will be discussing my experiences in one chance. I have experienced this several times, twice, and as a victim of this incident, I thought to share my own experience to people. I know that it may not be 100% helpful, but at least it will help you identify the tactics that are being used by these people, some of the tactics rather, because my own experience is not the only kind of way these people operate, right? By the end of this video, probably after you must have had my own experience, you will be moved enough to want to share your own experience with people so that they can also realize themselves when they are in such a situation. It will help, if you ask me, right? Because sometime last week I woke up and I really thought about sharing this because I knew it is timely. It's timely for such a content to go out. And when I visited Facebook that morning, the very first post I saw was the post from a Facebook influencer, BMP, ranting about how her cousin just faced such an issue, right? And it was heartbreaking for me to see that someone else had gone through what I had gone through years ago. And I was like, yeah, this is timely. It just has to go out, right? The first time I ever experienced these people was in 2020 in Port Harcourt, December 21st, 2020 to be precise. I had just gone to Aba with my friend and we're on our way back, because I was, as a side hustle, I was selling shoes, bags, and clothes. So my friend and I decided to take a last trip for the year because we had a sales that had passed. So people had dedicated money to us to get things for them. And we were on our way from Aba into Port Harcourt, and we got into Port Harcourt at around 8 to 9 thereabout. To be precise, the exact location was Eleme bus stop. That was where the bus from Aba dropped us off, right? While we were there, a lot of other persons that had come from Aba with us, they started leaving. So a taxi came stopped right in front of us, and we told him where we're going to. He said 100 naira, and we're like, we had 50 naira. He did not even argue. He just said enter, and I was like, okay. And then when we were about boarding this vehicle, I noticed that the taxi was full, with only one space, chance for only one person. So there were 3 women at the back and 1 man in front with the driver, making it 5 persons when we boarded the vehicle. And I brought this up to the driver. I said, Oga, this thing will be 2, now only 1 space remain. He said, no worry, somebody will be dropping in front. And because where we were, Eleme, if you're very familiar with Port Harcourt, you will know that Eleme bus stop is not a place for anybody to be at night. So we were torn between letting this particular man drive away and us staying and waiting for another vehicle. And with the way everybody were just hurriedly leaving, I did not want to take the chances of knowing what will happen if we let this taxi driver leave us and we start looking for another one, judging that it was already late, right? So I dismissed the thought of whatever that was in my head, and we boarded this vehicle. We had just moved a little when the driver was like, one of the doors was not properly shut, and he stated that, because I sat in front, and he stated that it was my own door. Then I opened it. So I was there. I opened it and I closed the door immediately while the vehicle was still in motion. And the next thing, the man seated beside me started screaming, "My hand, my hand." And I panicked. I was like, okay, what's happening? So I tried to open the door while this vehicle was still in motion. Guess what? The door refused to open. This made me to panic more, and I kept panicking. I kept trying to open the door. My friend from the back, she was like, open the door, and I couldn't, because the door was refusing to open. I didn't know that while all of this whole chaos was going on with the door and the man screaming, "My hand," the driver or whoever had put their hands into my bag and had taken my phone. I don't know. I think that's exactly what they did with my friend too. I don't know. And when they must have succeeded in stealing my phone, he stopped the vehicle. Immediately he stopped the vehicle, I was able to open the door and I got down. My friend also got down. She, on the other hand, left all her properties inside the vehicle, the goods we bought, everything. She left it inside the vehicle. While when I got down, I carried my handbag and the goods that I bought when I got down. And then I saw this man bleeding. That's the surprising thing. Like, how? Right? So I was panicking. I was like, huh? He's bleeding. And in the blink of an eye, all of these things just happened so fast. And before I knew it, they zoomed off without even closing the door. By the time I realized what was going on, they had gone. I was in shock. I stood there, not even understanding what was going on. This robbery happened on a flyover, right? We were at the top of the flyover. Now, my friend had already realized that we had been robbed. When I checked my bag, I didn't see my phone. So before we boarded that vehicle, I had hidden my second phone within my body. I don't know why I did that. I just did. And I had called my dad immediately I got to Port Harcourt that, "Dad, I'm close to the house and I'm safe." Because he was really worried. As at 7, 8, I was not yet in Port Harcourt, so he was really worried. So immediately I got to Port Harcourt, I called him. I was like, I'm in Port Harcourt, so he was okay. So I was still in shock. My friend had ran. So they were a set of men and a vehicle that was parked on that flyover, and they were just there. And then she ran to them. And then I, on the other hand, I was now trying to make a call because I had friends that live around the area where this robbery happened. So I decided to try and call them to see if any of them can come to our rescue or something. So it was when I brought out the second phone, someone just came to me and was like, "Oh yeah, bring her." So I don't know how it all happened, but I know I threw the bag I was holding, the goods I bought, I threw it into the bush. Then I knelt down and surrounded everything. I don't know. I surrounded everything that I owned to them, my bag, my phones, the second phone that I had, I gave them. I knelt down. I don't know why I did that. I didn't just have that strength to struggle with anybody. My friend decided that the only property in her that she had at that period was a sling handbag. She held it dearly. And that was how these people planked her on her face. She just released whatever was on her, the bag. She gave it to them. "Oh yeah, take before you kill me." And immediately they left, I picked up my bag that I flinged into the bush, and then I went to the middle of the road. I knelt down and I started crying. I shouted, like, help, help. So I know this is not part of the one chance incident. This is the aftermath of everything. I just want to narrate how I came out of it so I don't keep you hanging, right, and in your thoughts. So when I did that, kneeling down in front of the middle of the road and shouting at everyone, someone parked, and he was like, entered my vehicle, let's go. That he saw when they were robbing us. And I was, at that point when he made that statement, I was scared. I was like, what? No, I'm not entering. So it was me putting one foot in and coming down and saying no. Then I was like, Oga, nothing there again to rob. I have been stripped up of all valuables, so nothing there will now help. If you want help us rather than coming to steal your own, because we have been robbed twice in one night in same place. So it was something, it was traumatizing enough for me to now want to trust someone else again in that same area, right? And so finally I was able to board the vehicle. So I wear medicated lenses. While the second robbery was going on, my glasses fell off my face. So I just told him, let's go and look for my glasses. So we turned, because I went to this other side, whereas the robbery took place on the left hand side. So we turned, and using the headlights, I was able to find my glasses. And then it dawned on me that I was with someone. I started looking for my friend. My friend had run away, I don't know where, just somewhere a little far away from where I was. She met some Aboki people and she was just narrating what happened to her and screaming and all of that. And I had to shout at her like, oh, madam, come here, Jare. Because I know if she still had valuables on her, those people she ran to would have still robbed her again. So that was how we were rescued, and we took her to the pharmacy because she was badly injured on her face. So we had to just, and all of that. The aftermath of that experience was not something to even, each time I remember it, I feel like crying. Why? Because I lost a lot. My phone used to be my everything. Like, I had everything inside my phone, and it's not now that I now know how to back up my data. Then I rarely back up data, and I am someone who changes passwords every now and then, and that was how I even forgot passwords to some very important emails and all of that. And one thing I would say that helped me overcome that incident was the fact that I had memorized numbers in my head, numbers of my parents, numbers of my siblings. This is so that in case of emergencies, you would always have that one person to call. That there are different other tactics. This is just 1 out of 100. They never change. I still see people talk about it. Same tactics, same locations in Port Harcourt. Now, this is happening in big cities like Port Harcourt, Lagos, Abuja. And I just feel like if you are in an environment and your instinct says something, listen to your instinct, trust your instinct, because your instinct will never betray you. It's better safe than sorry. So it's better you took that caution that your instinct had notified you of than to dismiss it and be sorry, right? So that's for the first incident. Experience, this happened in Lagos, and it happened in 2022. VI, to be precise, checking point. So my office used to be at Adiola Odeko, and I would usually stop at checking point before taking a taxi that would take me to Adiola Odeko Street, right? And on that day, at around 11 a.m., I was heading to the office and on a call with my best friend. So when this taxi stopped and I boarded him, I told my friend, I'll call you back once I get to the office, right? So in this vehicle was an elderly man with me at the back seat, and the driver and another man, maybe around 30 to 40 years of age, in front, right? He was seated in front with the driver, and we had just barely moved when the elderly man was like he was going to alight at the next bus stop, and this conversation started between them. The driver was like, and then the elderly man was like, I'm alighting at the next bus stop, and I have my load in your boots, just so you know, right? And the driver now started this conversation. They started this conversation. It was now like, now you get the load for boots. The Baba now said yes. And I said, so now you get the dollars we pull that bag. Wetin you dey use that kind dollars do? The Baba was not like, why you go look my bag? Like, why you look my bag? And the driver was not like, I don't look your bag. You remember that time where those market women drop, where them get tomato for my boots? As I go help them bring the tomato down, now we see the money, but we don't know which of una get and where we no talk. But now I don't know, say now you get them, I go carry you go police station. The Baba now say, no need for that. Make we share the money. I go give you your own cut. Driver was not like, we not go fish share for here. You go follow me, go my pack, our union. Say what now? All of these conversations were going on, and I was listening to them. And I had previously watched a movie Aki and Popo acted some few days back, and this exact scenario was what played out in the movie, and I'm now reliving it. So it was more like a deja vu. Like, okay, I recognize these tactics from the movie that I watched. So the first thing I did was I never involved myself in their conversation. When it got to that point where, oh yeah, we did drive go our union, whatever, pack or whatever, so we can share the money, I just said, stop. And this man stopped. I opened the door and I got down. Immediately I got down. They didn't say anything. They just shut the door. The Baba at the back shut the door, and off they went. They zoomed off immediately. I stood there with this intense shock. I was shocked. I was like, what just happened? As well as I knew what was happening and I understood what was going on, I was still shocked. And then in my head, I was now playing all the different things that would have gone wrong if I had not known what to do the next minute. If I had not recognized what these persons were up to and had taken the action that I did. Was it going to be robbery? Was it going to be kidnap? What was it going to be? I didn't even know. I was just too shocked that I stood there and I cried. And then the next thing, I called my best friend. I was like, T, you cannot be. She was like, are you at the office? I was like, no. She was like, are you at the office? That was so fast. I was like, no, I am not at the office. I'm even barely away from where I boarded the vehicle. And she was like, what happened? She heard me crying and she was like, what happened? I was like, I just escaped another one chance. I stood there and I kept telling God, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because after that incident, when I came online and I typed my scenario on Google, I started seeing other people narrating their stories of the same tactics. Now, just imagine that I did not know or recognize these tactics. A lot of things would have gone wrong, because I saw online other persons narrating how far they went. Some of them, they stole from them, they were jars. Some of them, they just know that they recognized themselves or they knew themselves far away from wherever, their city or something. And I'm like, I just started telling God, thank you. It was God, and it was also the fact that I had previously had an idea of that particular tactics. There are so many other tactics out there, and I believe that as you've heard my own story, you would be able to know when you see such tactics being played out, right? And I also want to use this opportunity to encourage other victims. Come out, tell your story. You can send me a message on any of the platform any of my platforms, Facebook, Instagram, anyone. Send me a message with your story, and I will tell your story. I will tell your incident, so that other people will learn from your experience and not be victims like you were. These are things that I think you can do to further up your security game, right? For example, you order a vehicle, let your driver know that you have shared that trip. Let them know. My reason is this: if they have any bad intention, they will not want to go ahead, because they know that that trip is being recorded by someone, is being monitored by someone else. Avoid offline trips this period. See, for any reason that anybody is selling offline trip to you, please do not accept it. There are two things that happen here: your safety, and also you're cheating the creators of that app. Because once you go offline, creators cannot take their own cuts anymore, because they will assume that the trip never happened. And then I share not just my trip, but also my current location to my family. I don't know why I do that. For the longest time, even when I'm not using e-hailing apps, if I'm going out and I just feel like it, I just share my live location with my brother. I share with someone, like I just share my live locations. I just feel this sense of extra security, or there's this sense of, oh, someone else knows where I am, and I'm not saying anything is going to happen to me or anything, but it just makes me feel safer that someone else knows that I'm in this place, right? Also, it is advisable that you lock your SIM card. What happens when you lock your SIM card? If you turn off your phone and you turn it on, it will require a code for you to input before you can now use the SIM card. The phone will work. If you remove the SIM card, the phone will work perfectly well. But if you put the SIM card, you cannot use that SIM card to make calls. You cannot use that SIM card for any. Never use pins like your birthday, your birthday. It is very easy for anybody to decode. Looking at you, they can tell the age range, and then they'll start trying multiple passwords around that. So avoid that. Why not use password, random numbers that you can just formulate and put in, just memorize them and make sure you don't forget, right? It is December. Fraud in businesses. It is very, 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 very common within people who do buying and selling, especially in the market, even online. Now, you would experience where people will send fake alerts to you a lot this period. You will experience where people will say they've sent money, you will receive it, you will get an alert, but you will not see it in your banking app. Any money sent to you that is not reflecting on your bank app is not and has not been transferred. Stand your ground. Do not release that goods till you see the money reflect in your bank account. Why? There are fake alerts. There are fake transaction successful templates. I don't know how they do it, that they will stand there and your name, everything will appear. So please, to save yourself, we are already suffering enough in this country for anybody to come and add more to your problems. So, therefore, don't allow anybody use you to shine. If anyone someone comes into your shop or buys something from you, and maybe they buy something worth 10,000 naira, and they now make this transfer, and the next thing you're receiving an alert of 100,000 naira, and then they go saying, oh, I wanted to send 10,000 naira, I now mistakenly put extra zero. It's a lie. There are times when, yeah, there will be such errors, but when this person is now asking for a refund and they now provide you with a different account details from the one they used to send you that money, that is your red flag. Don't agree. If they cannot provide you with the account details that they used to transfer that money out of their to you, then you can't. What are you saying? Why do you want to put me into trouble? Because we have heard of cases whereby people will do this, and then you will now, let they say they wanted to send you 100 and they now send you 1 million, and then you say you'll refund my 900. They will give you a different account number. See you and jail. EFCC will come for you. We will not be victims of fraud this period, in Jesus' name. For these next tactics, individuals that are being targeted are mostly elderly persons, or should I say people from their 40s to 80s, right? This is the reason. Most of these persons are people who use traditional banks like Access, GT, Union, FCMB, etc., right? And because they are really not so savvy with using apps and all of that, they are the ones who fall victims the most. So what I want you to do is, if you ever come across this, share with your parents, your aunties, so they don't fall victims, right? So there are different ways. They either send you text messages or they call you telling you that your bank has issues, or you try to make a transaction and they want to help you block it, and before you know, your account is wiped. That's one. Two, this one, I have had lots of persons fall victim of this next one. They call you and they tell you that either your daughter, especially when you're an elderly, in fact, this one is not only elderly people they target. They would call you, your sister, your daughter, your friend, your father is in the hospital and they need money. And probably this person is there to you, and then you start panicking, and the next thing, you're sending money to these people claiming they are doctors, that they need to save a life. And because they make you panic, and when you do things out of panic, you just do things without thinking when you're in that panic mode, right? And I'm going to narrate this experience. My own dad went through it and he lost money. Now, I don't know how these people knew that my dad just ordered some equipment. He's a med lab scientist. So he just ordered some equipment, and this person was coming to install with the equipment. They were coming to install it in his lab. And the next thing, my dad received a call from another number saying that that he is this person and he is stuck, and the police held him and they're asking him for so amount, and he doesn't have that cash with him. My dad should send him 80,000 naira to sort himself out. And my dad didn't know that it wasn't the guy. My dad sent this money only for in less than 5 minutes for this person to appear. And my dad was like, I don't understand. Weren't you the one that just called me? And he was like, no, he never called my father. They checked, investigated, and it was true. So we don't know, either probably from the sites he ordered from, maybe someone had the back-end data or something. We do not know. But before you send that money to someone claiming that there is an emergency, if it's via WhatsApp, make a call directly to that person's number first. If you cannot reach the person, call someone that you know that is around this person to be sure. Because I would not now say, oh, if such a call coming now, you should not. It's okay to go ahead, but before you do that, get your findings. If it's your mom, you tell your mom that before you do that, maybe somebody call you and tell you that so person, call me first, or call. That's what you tell them. That's how you advise them, because they target these elderly people because they know that they will panic. Especially when you call, your daughter is sick in the hospital. She wants to, your daughter was involved. Your daughter. The one that I even saw that even annoyed me was they called and said, "I'm your daughter's husband. Your daughter wants to do CS. We need money. This one." Or no, the doctor called and said, your daughter is in the hospital. She wants to give birth. And truly, this woman's daughter was pregnant. And then she was like, okay, what about the husband? And the husband just left her and said he was going to look for money and he had disappeared. But your daughter gave me your number. From where to where? And this woman just panicked. And instead of calling the husband first, she sent this money. And that was how she lost over 100,000 naira to these fraudsters. These people are not sleeping. They are always looking for new ways to fraud people, defraud people, and cheat people. You just have to be careful. You don't want to lose money. There are lots of stories out there with people who have been victims of these fraudsters, right? And I just want to encourage you, drop a DM if you've ever experienced any of this, because you never know who is reading it and who is learning from your experience. This one that I'm about to share with you, I almost fell victim. I almost fell victim till I started making some calls. That was when I realized that in fact, it was me and my dad. So a friend of my dad, a professor, messaged my dad on Facebook Messenger that he had something for him, and he would want him, because this person is a professor in the university, it's federal university, and he said to my dad that he would want my dad to supply him a certain number of computers, and if my dad knows who can deliver the job, so my dad can also get a cut. So I think the person even mentioned, can your daughter. So it's surprising how the person even knew that my dad had a daughter that was computer savvy in, or should I say that had a thing or two to do with computers, right? And my dad was like, okay, he'll get back to him. My dad now called me and said, that his very good friend messaged him and said, can he supply a computer? I was like, okay, how many? He said 100. I said, okay. So I reached out to one or two persons that I know here in Lagos that would sell to me at a very good rate, and they gave me, I think it was around 150 thereabouts as at that time, early last year. And I reached out to my dad. I said, this is the price. The person now sent a quote, and okay, he now said, message so person on WhatsApp. He gave my father the number and said I should message the person. So now they transferred the conversation line from my dad to me. That was their biggest mistake. And I continued the conversation. I told him the price of each computer, and he said instead of 150,000, I should write 300,000 naira, and that when the money comes, we will split the profit. I said no problem. I've not seen any red flags yet, yeah. So I should go and write the invoice. So I went back, I wrote the invoice using someone else's company, and I sent it to him. He now said, okay, that's good. He started asking for some documents, that it is this document we would use to get the contract. That's where the red flag started coming in. I was like, I don't understand. In my head, that was what I was saying. So I now called a business mentor. He's more like a mentor to me, and I said, Oga, now true say if you want to apply for government contracts, then they ask for so and so details. You know, say yeah, that is true, that they need so and so details. You need to be, you need to have some licenses to be able to actually carry out government contracts. So I said okay. So I went back to my friend that was using his company to ask for if he had such document. I think it has to do with tax and all of that, SEC, some other things, right? So I went back to this person and he said he was going to provide them. I said okay, no problem. It was during that back and forth, I now called my dad and said, Dad, who did you say referred you to? Oh, that was not where I started questioning. They now said I should call someone else. No, not even call. I should send in those documents before so and so time with I think 500,000 naira. And I asked, and I said, what's the 500,000 naira for? The next thing this person told me was the 500,000 naira is to make sure that I get the contract, because I am not the only one that is pitching to be the one to supply this number of computers to the university. I started putting one and two together. Which contracts? Why will I be paying to get a contract? If I'm not getting it fair and there, I'm not doing. And I said, he now said, because the person that is going to submit it to the commissioner or the minister that is going to sign is the one that is asking for the money. And I said, okay, let the person do it. When the contract come, I will give the person so percentage, not even that 500,000 naira. That's what I now told them. We were now talking and talking. So it was then I now started seeing the red flags, and I called my dad. I said, Daddy, who did you say gave you this man's number? He said, it's his prof. I said, okay. I said, how did you meet with the prof? My father said, Facebook, Messenger. Ah, God. I said, Daddy, did you call this person offline? He said, no. Oh yeah, call him. That's how my dad called this prof and told this prof the conversation line that has been going on. Prof shouted. He said, that's not my Facebook account, number one. Number two, I have lost that account a long time ago. Say what now? Are you as shocked as I am? Okay. And he was now like, please disregard though, that I've been getting reports like this. In my head, I'm like, you've been getting reports like nothing, it didn't occur to you, you would put disclaimer on your original Facebook account and your WhatsApp so that people will be aware that someone is using your name to defraud your friends. Well, that's none of my business, so I just left it. So I went back to the man and I messaged him and said, scammer. I got his name, I took the number, I don't know how I got the name, I was able to get, okay, they provided me with an account number. Now, the tricky part about that account number they gave to me, when I took that name to Google, I found out that this person is actually someone in the high ops. So therefore, I am not saying this person is involved in these tricks, but it means that these people have access. I don't know how they do it. They have access to create account numbers with people's names. So you need to be extremely careful to not fall victims of these fraudsters. Another one that a friend and I also escaped was, we wanted to buy shoes on Instagram and we were so excited. The shoes were beautiful, the prices were fair. I think we got each of those shoes for around 15,000 naira. All those, covered shoes, work shoes, yeah. And it was so they were so beautiful, and so we wanted to just take the opportunity. She was buying 3, I was buying 2, so we calculated, and then they provided an account number, and something in my friend just said, pick the account name and take it to Google. And she did. And posts that other people had made on Twitter about this same person came up. And that was how we knew this person was a fraudster. This person would, once you make payment, they will block you. That's how you start crying. So these days, when I want to shop from Instagram, I am super careful. I make sure that you have an address. Oh, there was even this Instagram account that I saw. They have an address. They even have CAC. But when you look at the dynamics of the page, they've changed name more than 10 times. There's something fishy. These are just a few of the scenarios that I am aware of, that I know of. So, like I have said while having this conversation, I had stated that if you have ever been a victim at any point, whatever tactics that have ever been used on you, please do not hesitate. I repeat, do not hesitate to share, because if people read more of this, if, for example, the last scenario that I said, if no one had written about this particular person who has defrauded them, we would not have known that this person was a fraudster, and we would have fallen victims of almost 100,000 naira shoes that we were going to buy, right? 70 something, I mean 80 something, 85,000 naira thereabout. We would have fallen victims, and we've not finished eating. We're not going to be dashing somebody 80,000 naira. How now? So I'm encouraging you, share your story, and yeah, thank you. We have come to the end of today's episode on Bolou Rants Lagos, and please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, and also share with your family and friends. Until next time, I remain Bolou.